Hey boys and girls, this is Miss Jacobs here, and today we are going to talk about triangles. Now, triangles are very special shapes that have three sides. Okay, let's try to think. Do you know of any structures that look like triangles? Oh, I heard someone say the Eiffel Tower. It kind of has triangular shapes. The Great Pyramids, yes, the Great Pyramids over in Egypt, they are triangular shaped. I know that everywhere you look that you see triangles. Well, guys, I want to talk to you about how we name or classify triangles. So here we go. We can identify triangles based upon their sides and their angles. So we're going to examine the sides of a triangle as well as the angles of a triangle, and we're going to give them a name. So every triangle has two names based upon one is based upon their side and one is based upon their angle. I name my triangles by looking at their sides, and I use these words: equilateral, isosceles, and scalene. Then I name it also by their angles: acute, right, or obtuse. Now, here's the good thing, guys. You already know the definition to acute, right, and obtuse. So when I name a triangle by its angles, I promise you, you can already do that. We're going to focus mainly on how to name your triangle based upon its sides. Okay, an equilateral triangle is a triangle where all sides are equal and all angles are equal. Okay, so all of the sides are equal, all of the angles are equal. That means that if this side is 5 inches, this side is 5 inches, and this side is 5 inches. Okay? Next, we have an isosceles triangle. In an isosceles triangle, two sides are equal. Let me show you one way that you can tell if two sides are equal. A lot of times in geometry, you will see these, what we call tick marks on triangles. And if I have like a tick mark here and a tick mark here, that means that those two sides are equal. And then down here, I can look at that side, the bottom of that triangle, and I can tell that is not the same size as these other two sides. We also have a scalene triangle. Now, that's a really weird word, scalene. A scalene triangle just means that no sides are equal. So if I look over here and I saw tick marks that look like this, I have one like this, and then I have another side that has 2 tick marks, and another side that has 3 tick marks, that's going to tell me that those sides are not equal. I can also look at this triangle and I can tell that all of those sides are not equal. I can see I have a long side right here, a short side, and then from the top to the bottom, that diagonal line is actually longer than either of these other two lines. And if you are kind of wondering and you don't know for sure, you can always get a ruler out and measure to see if the sides are equal, or to see if they are at different lengths. Okay, now let's talk about naming triangles by their angles, okay? So let's look at this one right here, okay? This is an acute triangle, and in an acute triangle, all 3 angles are the same size. So I can look at this, and I can see that this angle, and this angle are all the same size, okay? So in this triangle, this would probably be 60 degrees, 60 degrees, and 60 degrees. Do you know why it would be 60 degrees, each one of them? Because in a triangle, all of the angles have to add up to equal 180 degrees. So if I have a triangle and it has 180 degrees and I divide that by 3 angles, that would mean that each of those angles would be 60 degrees. Another type of triangle that I have is a right triangle. And guess what a right triangle has in it? Yes, it has a right angle. So a right triangle is going to have a right angle in it, okay? And then finally, when we look at our last triangle here, there we go. I have an obtuse triangle. Let me move my camera. An obtuse triangle. Well, guys, when I have an obtuse triangle, that means that one of those angles in there is going to be obtuse. Remember, obtuse means that it is more than 90 degrees. Can you look at this triangle and find the obtuse angle? Yes, you are right. It is this angle right here. That is a big obtuse angle. That means that we have an obtuse triangle. Okay, so let's review back very quickly. When I'm naming a triangle based upon its angles, I have an obtuse triangle, which means that we have one obtuse angle in it. I can have a right triangle, and that triangle is going to have a right angle in it. And then finally, I have an acute triangle where all of the angles are acute. Now, let's see if we can do some examples. Okay, I just told you guys this. All angles in a triangle should add up to equal 180 degrees. 180 degrees. Okay, next. Can I have a triangle that has more than one obtuse angle? Can I have a triangle that has more than one obtuse angle? What do you think? Talk to someone in your house about it. Go ask your mom or your dad or your brother or sister. Go ask them and come back to me and let me know what they said, okay? I'm going to give you a second to do that. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. I'm glad that you're back. Now, what did your parents tell you? I hope they said no. If a triangle had more than one obtuse angle, the angles would not add up to be 180 degrees. So then I would not have a triangle, okay? So I hope that your parents told you the right answer, or your brothers and sisters. Let's do a couple of examples very quickly. Uh-oh. All right. So here we go. We're going to classify each of these triangles by its angle and by its side. So let's look at number 1, okay? Remember, when I classify by its sides right here, when I'm classifying by the sides, I'm going to name it either isosceles, scalene, or equilateral. Isosceles has 2 sides that are equal. Equilateral has 3 sides that are equal. Scalene has no sides that are equal. Then I'm going to name it by its angles. Remember, we have obtuse, right, and acute. Okay, so let's look at the first one. First of all, let's name it by its sides. Okay, so let's look at this triangle. Do I have 2 sides that are equal? No. Do I have no sides that are equal? I think that may be it. Do I have all sides equal? No, I don't. So I would say this is scalene. And now let's name it by its angles, okay? Does it have an obtuse angle in it? No, no obtuse angles. Does it have a right angle in it? Yes, right here we have our right. So I would name this scalene and right. Now you're probably thinking, Miss Jacobs, it also has acute angles in it. Yes, it does. But anytime my triangle has even just one right angle, that means it's going to be a right triangle, okay? So number 1 is scalene and right. Let's look over here at number 2. We want to name it first by its sides, okay? Isosceles means that I have 2 sides that are equal. Well, as I'm looking at this, looks like this side and this side are equal. And I even think that side looks equal. Looks like all 3 of those sides are equal to me. So this would be equilateral. It's not scalene because scalene means no sides are equal. And I feel like that this would be equilateral, that all sides are equal. Then let's name it by its angles. Do I have any obtuse angles in there? No, I don't. What about any right angles? Nope. What about acute angles? Yes, there are 3 acute angles. So this would be equilateral and acute. Now, it doesn't matter if you write acute first or if you write equilateral first, as long as you have both of the names on there. Now, let's look at number 3. For number 3, I have, is it an isosceles? Is it scalene or equilateral? You tell me, what do you think? Isosceles, equilateral, or scalene? That one's pretty easy, isn't it? When I look at it, I can tell that this side and this side are exactly the same measurement. But this one down here, that one is not as long. So this would be isosceles. Okay, isosceles is a very strange word, and it's actually kind of hard to spell. So I wouldn't count off for spelling on this one. Okay, isosceles. Now let's name it by its angles. Well, let's see. Does it have any obtuse angles? No. What about any right angles? Yes, it has some right angles. How many right angles do we see in this? 1, 2, 3. Very good. Now, does it have any obtuse angles? Nope, it does not. So this would be isosceles and acute. Isosceles and acute. And finally, for number 4, this is a huge triangle. Look at how big that is. It kind of looks like it would fit on like the roof of your house or something. Okay, so let's name it by its sides. Well, I'm looking at it. I've got that line, and this line looks longer than that line right there. So that's a different measurement. And then this one right here, oh gosh, that's the longest line there is. Guys, do I have any sides that are the same length? No. So that means it is scalene. And now, let's look at those angles, okay? I'm going to look at this angle right here. Whoa, what kind of angle is that, guys? It's huge. It is called a obtuse angle. So it is scalene. We have an obtuse angle. Does it have any right angles? No right angles. What about acute angles? It has 2 acute angles, but what did we learn? If there's even just one obtuse angle in there, it's called an obtuse triangle. So this example is scalene and obtuse. Guys, this is going to be so much fun. I want you to do your workbook pages. You have 2 activities. One is in your workbook. If you don't have your workbook, it's in Edge Elastic. And then there's also another activity in Edge Elastic that you're going to do. So there's 2 sheets for you to do on triangles. But you know what I would like for you to do too? I would love for you to walk around your house, find some different items, different things in your house that look like triangles. And I want you to look at them and determine, are those triangles scalene? Are they isosceles or equilateral? And then decide if that same triangle is obtuse, right, or acute. Guys, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon.